Are you ready, Fee? But I think over the past 2 weeks, we've really had some wonderful times together.
Yes.
And
It's
I
been
still,
good getting to know you.
Yeah.
Not just as a work colleague, but as a friend, as a brother.
Yes. I think I'm trying to recall some of the activities we've had over the past 2 weeks, starting from the aqua aerobics
Aqua aerobics,
at University of
University of
Ghana.
Ghana.
It was fun, right?
And then the martial arts program at Mary Mother.
Yes, remember.
Yeah, and then the gym.
No,
obviously.
but don't forward, because a lot of things happened at Mary Mother.
Oh, like what? Exactly. What are you trying to talk about?
I think the most interesting for me was, you think I'm going to talk about the toilet issue? No, but I'm not going to talk about
there's
that.
no toilet issue. There's no toilet issue.
No, but I'm curious. Let's just congratulate Mary Mother of Good Counsel Church. That facility is state of the art for me.
It's a really good facility.
Yeah,
yes.
But you played a very critical role or good role.
What are you doing?
But you were the face of the project.
I was not the face
I only
of
got
the
to know.
project.
So you tell me about it.
So it's a really simple story.
Yeah.
There's a toilet facility.
Yeah.
It's a washroom facility at Mary Mother. They say it's state of the art. Well, it actually is.
Yeah.
And they say, they need someone to come and demonstrate how it is used. And I happened to be there. So the video guy, we went for morning mass.
Okay.
The video guy was there. They didn't have anyone to help them. I was there. Like, Fiifi, why don't you just come?
It was just a random call.
It was a random
they
call.
needed
It was
someone
an impromptu kind of something.
So you didn't audition for...
Definitely not audition. It was just like after morning mass, the guy was like, Charlie, if you move, go shoot them.
Yeah.
I did it, and and then it spread right, because obviously it was shared.
So what did you do? What role did you play?
Basically, he had a voiceover, like,
okay,
when you enter the washroom, please wash your hands. That kind of stuff. Like,
it was audio or
audio.
video?
It was audio and video, audio visual.
Okay.
So basically, I was the guy who was, how do I describe it? I was the guy giving directions in the video without speaking.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a silent performance. I wasn't speaking. But there was a voiceover. So the voiceover would describe what I am doing. I don't know if you get it. Yeah.
So, but you did some practical demonstration, like you took off your pants, you sat on the seat.
Charlie, why?
Because and I want to see that video. I'm trying to see
I'll
that.
try and get it for you.
Yeah. So you did some practical demonstration.
No, I didn't take off my pants, unfortunately.
Okay. And then when you came out, you had some reaction from parish. I learned that.
A lot of
that's a toilet guy.
It became a whole guy in church.
It made you popular in church?
No, I was already popular in church. I mean, not to say that
the
not
father
to brag
figure, because that also came up when we went for the games. You think that I got to know that a lot of parishioners at Mary Mother see you as a father figure.
And also the youth parishioners, youth parishioners. I can't be a father figure for the adults, no.
Yeah.
But for the youth, Charlie.
Yeah.
I need to mentor them.
So they see you as a father figure.
Oh, Charlie, how you go do them?
Yeah.
Need to guide them on the right path.
On the right path, yes. That's good. But Fiifi, I think you've done so well for yourself. And
thank you.
I have with me the Black Star.
The Black Star, yes.
Autobiography of C.K. Jemfi. How did this come about? I just want to know how this came about.
So this book was many years in the making.
Yeah.
What happened was, in 2009, my dad took me to go and see an old man called C.K. Jemfi. At that point, I really didn't know who he was. But
which year was this?
This was 2009. This was when I was in first year at Achimota School. I had told my dad I wanted to become a coach. And so he said, I know this guy, C.K. Jemfi. He was a big coach. He was like a legendary coach. Let's go talk to him. Maybe he can have some pointers to give you. So he took me to his house at Kaneshi Swan Lake. And then, we had a conversation with him. He really advised me. He was really very, very nice. He's a very nice old man. And then I asked him, that I think he has a very interesting story. Does he have a book detailing his experiences? And mind you, this is a man who had won 3 out of 4 AFCONs for Ghana as a coach.
Yeah.
So he's basically an embodiment of everything good that has to do with football in Ghana. So he says, there's a book about my experiences coming up. By the end of 2009, it's set. Everything is coming up. End of 2009, nothing happened. So fast forward 2013, I'd become a journalist after the coaching aspiration had failed.
Okay.
So I went to interview him at Kaneshi Swan Lake again, this time without my dad.
How old was he then?
2013, there he must have been 80 something. I forgot.
Okay.
Yeah, but he didn't remember me from 2009. But this time I introduced myself as a journalist. I wanted to interview him. He was really open. I basically just walked in without any contact.
Yeah.
And, I asked to see him and I said, I want to interview. I had my small Nokia phone, a recorder. So I said, why not? So we had a conversation. And then I asked him again that, I once came here many years ago. He said a book was coming. Has a book come out? I want to see it. He said, no, but 2013, it should be ready. It should be ready. So I was like, okay. So I did the interview. It was published on go.com. And then on Facebook, 2 of his sons reached out to me and said they really enjoyed the interview and I've done justice to their dad's story. And I was really proud because, if you've done something and key stakeholders say that they are really impressed with it, then it counts for something. So one of his sons who lives in the UK said that he was coming to Ghana and wanted to meet me. So I remember very well, he came to Ghana and then we met at Papaya at Osu.
Yeah.
I remember very well, we had a conversation and then he said, our dad has been trying to write a book since the 70s. And we read your article and we really like your writing style. We want you to be the guy to turn this whole thing into a book.
Oh, okay.
And I remember thinking in my head, wow, this is a very interesting story because this book I've been asking about it since 2009.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to be the one to write it.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened. So afterwards, I went to see CK Jemfi and his sons told him that, Fiifi is going to be the one handling your book. And he was really happy about it because he had met me from the interview. And then we became friends. I say friends in quotes because obviously he was like over 60 years older than I was.
Yeah.
But then we struck that relationship and I'll go and visit him, interview him, interview him.
All for the book. Yeah.
And then unfortunately he passed in September 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember very well when I was told that he had passed. I received a phone call. I was, all this time I was in Legon.
Yeah.
I think 2015 I was in my final year in Legon. I received a call saying that the old man had passed, and I was really disappointed. I was really sad.
But this time, you had gathered all the materials, all the relevant,
everything. We had just started. So which was very heartbreaking. But my consolation was in the fact that I was going to have still a treasure trove of information at Graphic Archives.
Okay.
Where they have like old newspapers where I can read stuff about him and then incorporate into the project. So basically, truth of the matter is he had a manuscript, about 57,000 words of his life, already typewritten, which I was going to use to produce the book.
Yeah.
So he would say, I went here, I scored this goal, I was at this stadium, I did this, I did that. Just raw. And
you had these materials already.
I had this material. So what I had to do was to turn it into a book. I don't know if you're getting me. Yeah. So in the end, 57,000 words became over 150,000 words with my additions and with graphic research and stuff like that. So I kept writing on and off for about 7 years until it was published in 2022.
Wow. Yes. Wow. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I know you love to write.
Yes.
But I also want to know why you decided to specialize in football writing.
Football because, this is how it happened. So growing up, I loved to write. I love stories, like movies, novels, and all of that. So I started writing around age 9, 10 thereabouts because I was mimicking the stuff that I was reading and watching. So my dad always encouraged me to express myself because he thought one day I would become an author. And that was indeed my dream, to become an author.
Yeah.
So I would write like fiction stories here and there. I had a notebook. I remember I wrote a mini novel called Evil Sequence, which my dad almost published when I was really young. I think I was in class 4, class 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was called Evil Sequence. I still have the manuscript. Maybe one day in the office I'll bring it for you.
For me, I would love to see it.
So I started writing. And then along the line too, I developed a passion for football. Obviously, football is like this thing that every male growing up would eventually come to love.
Yeah.
If not, So I started loving football. And at the end of Achimota school, I thought to myself, I love writing, I love football. Why don't I merge both passions? So then I started writing about football. I started with a blog, started sharing on Facebook, and people started loving it. And that's how it began, basically.
Yeah. Yes. And I know you've had best moments in your writing career as a journalist, and you are so passionate about think 2015, your best year 2015, when
My best year.
your story was
yes.
nominated.
2015 was a very good year.
That was 2015?
2015, I went to the CNN Africa Journalist Awards in Nairobi. That was in October 2015. I was nominated for the Sports Reporting Award. I didn't win that award. I was runner-up, but it was a huge experience.
That was the first time you ever had an international recognition for any story you had done.
This is when I was like barely 21.
Yeah.
Yes. I was in Lagos last year.
Yeah.
And the CNN Africa Journalist Awards was then like the biggest awards for journalists on the continent. Like everybody looked up to this. It's like the Oscars of African journalism.
Yeah. And
I had applied the year before, I didn't get in. And then this particular year, I applied. And I remember one time I was in Legon Hall. I was in one of the restaurants at Legon. I was eating banku. And then I got a call from this guy who introduced himself as Peter Kitson.
Yeah.
Says he's calling from CNN and do I have some time to chat? And I'm like, yes. So I immediately left my banku because it's CNN.
Yeah.
What do they have to say? It's like, I have some news, but you have to keep it under wraps for a while. You've been nominated for the CNN Africa Journalist Awards. You'll be happening in Nairobi, blah, blah. As soon as he said Journalist Awards, I just zoned out and I started shouting. Everybody was looking at me. You know, it was like crazy.
You were not expecting.
I left my banku. I didn't go back to it. I went back to my room. I was like, thank you, God. People were asking me. I didn't want to say. And then I started calling my family members. Oh, CNN now, Bemo, you know, that kind of thing. And then it was just this whole experience. And I remember, I think it was on a Friday that I left campus. We went to Nairobi and I met all these journalists, very, very accomplished journalists.
People that you looked up to as role models.
Who had like 20 years experience. And I had just 3 years of experience.
Yeah.
And all of these journalists went for a series of programs, you know, capacity building, dinners. And I remember during one of the dinners, it all dawned on me how huge it was for me to be a part of this event.
Yeah.
And I remember we're having dinner in this like tent structures. And then I walked out of my tent there. And then I came out and I just started crying. Crying because I didn't understand. It's like, you know,
everything was so fast. It was like just so like a movie.
I started writing in 2012. By 2015, I was at the CNN Africa Journalist.
And this was your first major award?
First major award. Okay. First major trip outside of Ghana.
Outside of Ghana, to Kenya.
It was, you know, and I remember one of the women who was also a nominee coming to see me. Was like, you know, why are you crying? I started explaining myself. You know, I can't believe I'm here. It's like, take your time. You know, you deserve to be here. You are very talented. Don't worry. And then people started gathering around me, encouraging me. It was a whole mess. And, you know, on the night of the awards, my mom came, my brother came. I remember my mom telling me, or my brother telling me that at the airport, my mom kept telling everyone, you know, out of Kotoka. So they came for the awards, and even though I didn't win, it was a huge thing.
Yeah, thing for you.
Back here, everybody was talking about this, you know, young guy from Legon who's now part of the CNN Africa Journalist Awards family. And that was not the end, so to speak.
And this was in 2015?
2015.
And you had written another story?
2015, that story that that got me to the awards in Nairobi was a story called Ghana's Neglected Football Stars.
Okay.
About the amputee national team.
Oh, okay.
So I profiled them.
Yeah.
And just a few months later, I was nominated for the Sport Media Pearl Awards.
Awards,
Yeah, which is now known as the AIPS Media Awards. So this is basically the highest form of awards for sports journalists worldwide.
Yeah.
This was the first edition.
So this was how many weeks or months after the CNN?
So from October to December.
A few months. 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
So within 3
another
months. Another nomination.
A bigger one.
Yeah. So this one I told myself, if I didn't win in Africa, what am I going to come on?
So you were not expecting anything.
Enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
So I remember I was in the same category with journalists from CNN, BBC, New York Times, AP, like top journalists. Again, I was the only African nominee. I was the youngest. Yeah. I was feeling out of place. But what happened was, these organizers, you know, it was the people from Abu Dhabi. They were Abu Dhabi Media in collaboration with AIPS.
Yeah.
So they flew me business class to Abu Dhabi.
Did you cry again?
I did. I cry a lot, Charlie. So
at what point did you cry when you got the nomination, or when you sat in business class for the first time?
This one I cried after the fact.
Okay, all
after
right.
the awards night.
Okay, because when you're going, you had psyched yourself that you're not expecting anything, but
I didn't understand. Like, it was like a dream.
A dream, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I was thinking to myself, is this really real?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going, business class.
Yeah.
My second ever flight. They've paid for me. I slept in a 7-star hotel.
Yeah.
In Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And then we had all these series of programs. And then on the awards night, I remember I had made a Russian friend. Before the awards night, I remember meeting the president of AIPS. He's called Gianni Mello. Gianni Mello, accomplished Italian journalist. He came up to me and said, "So you are Fiifi, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You know how lucky you are to be in our midst?" I'm like, "Okay, sir." It's like, "This is a really huge opportunity for you, and we are really proud of you." And then right before the award ceremony, a guy walks up to me and says, "So you are Fiifi?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, and he smiled at me in a very weird way. So that's why I knew that something was happening behind the scenes. So we entered, and this Russian friend I had made called Daria Isaeva, she said, "Fiifi, you are going to win this award." And before then, apparently we're at a bar at the top floor of the hotel. And then someone came to me and said I was trending on Facebook, because a lot of people were talking about how this young guy from Legon had gone to the International Award for Sports.
So this was in Ghana, on socials in Ghana. You were trending,
yes. So everything was building up slowly. So on the awards night, Adaria says, "Fiifi, you're going to win."
Yeah.
So she takes my iPad and says, "Fiifi, I'm going to record you when you win this." So that was the first award of the night. It was like, best writing column goes to Fiifi Anaman from Ghana.
Oh my, more tears.
And it was, Charlie, I walked up to the stage. Everything was blinding, and then I started crying on stage.
Oh, Fiifi.
Yeah, it was Charlie.
Very, very emotional.
Very emotional. And then again, because you are young and because you are the only African, everybody is coming up to you. You are the young guy from Ghana. Oh, a lot of people. There's this woman who just came up to me, hugged me, started kissing me all over.
Oh my.
She really loves me, and I'm a humble guy. I should never change. Blah blah. And it was a whole experience. And people from Abu Dhabi, the media, everyone was all over me, like interview here, interview there, interview here. So the morning after, there was this Ghanaian guy who was in Abu Dhabi, who I knew from Kumasi, who came to visit me in my hotel room. We're having a chat, and I broke down in tears again. So I was telling, why God, why me? Like, it's a very unusual story. You understand? It was almost as if this is something that it takes decades to build.
Yeah,
you understand? People start writing in the 70s.
It takes a long while for them to achieve certain recognition.
For me,
a young guy, and everything was just happening.
So I thought, what next? What am I going to do next?
Yeah.
And this is going to haunt me for the rest of my life, because it's like, this award-winning guy, you cannot go wrong again. Like, everything you write has to be award-winning standard. So I began to panic, and that's when I experienced the first ever depressive spell of my life. I went into depression for a whole month.
Yeah, so I wanted to find out, after getting this exposure on the big stage, you've had all the pleasantries, the exchanges, you've taken the photographs and everything, and now you get back into your hotel room. That night, just take me through your thought process. When you were left alone all by yourself, that night, what was running through your mind?
I was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
With emotion.
Yeah.
I was overwhelmed. And I remember thinking, what next? What is going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to receive when I come back to Ghana? How are my family going to feel?
Yeah.
A lot of things were going through my mind. But then I told myself to take it one hour at a time.
Yeah.
Not a day at a time at that point, but an hour, like, not to rush the emotions, just stay calm. So it was the next day that I met my friend, that we were having a conversation in the hotel room, and I broke down again in tears. Yeah. So I was thinking, Charlie, this may never happen to me again in life.
Yeah. But was it also about some fear of expectations?
Yes.
Were you scared that you could probably not maintain the same standards over time? Was it about the societal expectations?
I have a figurative fear of heights.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a serious fear of heights in terms of physical and figuratively.
Yeah.
When I reach certain levels in life, I'm afraid that I'm an imposter. Yeah. Even if evidence shows that I'm good enough to be there, I still feel like I don't deserve to be there. That has always been like a haunting thing for me.
Yeah.
So anytime people are praising me, I get a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I feel like maybe I'm not all that.
Does it come in a form of like hallucination, like you hear voices, like just like?
Not really. It's almost as if, okay, hey, Fiifi, you the right to. Okay, I know that I know how to write, but is it that as much as you think it is? Like,
so let's have some
am I really
inward doubt about your capabilities?
Really, I mean, I have confidence in my abilities, no doubt.
Obviously.
But I think that a lot of people see me in a certain light that I feel like I may never have the gravitas to maintain.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, you are. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's always been like that. Hey, this guy, the right to, hey, Charlie, guy win award, or, everywhere you go, he follows you. This guy is the one who won the international award,
Yeah.
The young guy, know.
So let's build from there. So you arrive in Ghana, and then people knew about you.
Yeah.
Did you go for some interviews?
Yeah, funny thing, I didn't do a lot of interviews.
Yeah.
Some media friends of mine invited me to their
to talk about the experience.
But in the industry, funny thing, it was a very quiet reception. It wasn't like a celebration that a lot of people thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But I did some interviews. But right from the airport, I went to my brother's office at Shangri-La.
Yeah.
My brother used to work there.
Yeah.
And then, in fact, my brother picked me up from the airport, went to his office. And right from my brother's office, I went to Star FM, where my first boss in journalism used to work. He's called Kent Mensah. He gave me an opportunity at go.com. So I went straight to Kent's office and said,
just to present the award. Just to say thank you, show appreciation.
This is for you, for believing in me. Because Kent, Charlie, when nobody knew me, Kent was like, Fiifi's the guy. He put me on go.com in 2012, right at Achimota School. And then, even though I was writing for free, he put me on that platform. And now 13 years later, I still look back and say, if he hadn't given me that opportunity, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am. So I went to Kent's office and I said, hey, this is it. And I went back to Legon Hall. My floor mates, everybody was so happy for me, taking photos with the trophy.
Yeah.
And the trophy came with a $10,000 prize. This was in 2015. Can imagine.
We didn't even talk about how much you earned from writing this book, which I hear was in excess of like $5,000. And then you had $10,000.
Yeah, in 2015, yes, I did have $10,000.
Bro. No. Well, Fiifi, you've really done incredibly for yourself. I think you've done so well. So, at what point did the anxiety that fed into you getting depressed? How did it start?
I think, so when I used to work at Ringgit Ghana they publish Pulse Ghana. I don't even know Pulse.
Yeah, Pulse, yeah.
Yeah, Ringgit Ghana.
It's defunct now?
No, Pulse Ghana is
still there. Oh, okay.
Ringgit, in fact, their office is around this area.
Oh, okay.
So when I used to work at Ringgit, there was this month I went on an unpaid leave for a whole month because I had lost interest in writing. I had lost interest in life itself.
Okay.
And I remember I didn't want to do anything. I just went to Kumasi and stayed in my room for a whole month. And I was in Legon.
Yeah.
I was in Legon and working at the same time, but I took time off school, off work.
Was this something that built gradually, or you just found yourself suddenly in a space where you didn't feel like doing anything?
My dad has always told me that I'm somebody who easily loses interest
in things, yeah.
Yes, so I may hold something in high regard today, and the next moment it's like, annoying, that kind of thing. So that was my first major experience with depression.
Yeah.
But then I was formally diagnosed with clinical depression in 2021.
Yeah.
Yes. And since then, it's been a very tough journey.
Yeah.
It has cost me a lot.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I have had a formula to battle it.
Yeah.
In terms of like therapy, in terms of monthly sessions with psychiatrists, in terms of medication.
Yeah.
In terms of lifestyle routines that help deal with it. When people talk about depression, they think it's, girl a job, why you depressed, we lose your job. No. When you talk about
associating it with like negative things.
Yes. Especially in Ghana, when you say you are depressed. I mean, recently I mentioned it to my boss that, Charlie, I've been dealing with this for many years now. It's really, really tough for me. And I don't see a day.
Yeah.
No, I saw doing one shit, bro. I mean, I fine. This is my boss who at work. I don't want to mention his name. So, and not see a day.
Yeah.
But it's serious,
we play it down.
2022,
Yeah.
I had my worst depressive episode.
Yeah.
They were basically taking me around Accra to pastors, hospitals, psychiatrists, psychologists. What is wrong with Fiifi? Fiifi says he doesn't want to live anymore. Fiifi wants to kill himself.
You ever got to the point where you wanted to take your life?
Yes, I was feeling suicidal. It was that bad. It cost me my relationship. I was going to get married. It cost me my relationship.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you can just, talk about lightly.
Yeah.
Depression is really real. And a lot of people think that, your mom, why you depressed, your mom about $5 million, no.
It's not about
if I'm depressed,
money. It's not about,
you give me the whole of Ghana as a gift. I won't accept it. I just want to die.
Yeah.
It's that bad. Everything is dark around you. You wake up in the morning and everything is, it's like a claustrophobic person's worst nightmare. It's like you are constricted, and it's like you don't want to be alive. You don't want to be conscious. When you wake up, you want to be dead. You want to be unconscious. You want the whole world to be dark.
Yeah. So during my episode in 2013, when I first had depression, I think mine stemmed from anxiety, because I lost 2 friends in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I'm also hypertensive. Okay. So I suddenly got onto the internet and started reading possible symptoms that may have killed the 2 friends. One died of something related to high blood pressure, and the other was also leukemia. And so I started reading about symptoms, and the more I read, the more anxious I became.
Never do that.
No, yeah. So that's one of the Googling symptoms about illnesses. Yeah. So I wake up in the morning, and I just want to know if you felt that, or like the reactions or how people feel differ. I mean, from one depression to the other, one form of depression to the other. Because I wake up in the morning and my chest is so heavy. It's like I just feel more like a dark cloud. You can't describe it, but I always felt like my chest is so heavy. I had to breathe in, like I was panting for breath. And it got to the point where I also felt there was nothing to live for, because here were 2 young guys. Alex was probably one of the best students in tech, civil engineering, and we're both at Anglo Gold. Things were picking up. We had high expectations of the future, and suddenly he dies. And here was the thing. I'm walking and I hear voices, okay? More like every day I'm playing a funeral in my mind. I don't know if you ever experienced it, but I'm playing a funeral in my mind. And in that funeral, I see canopies, I see people sitting and wailing, and I could picture my mother. And the voice would tell me that, you see, you die. Whenever I saw a funeral poster, I could literally like see myself on that poster. And so what?
It was somehow the same.
Were you playing scenarios in your head?
A lot. Because at the point I had to move from where I lived to go and live with my brother, because there were concerns that I was alone and it wasn't safe for me to be alone on my own. So I went to live with my brother a while. And I remember when I was there, even waking up was an issue for me. Like when
you didn't have strength, physical strength.
Like everything seemed to have, and I was in the process of writing my current book, which is going to be
published. Yeah.
Yes, I was in the process, and I remember thinking, I can never finish this book this way. Like, I'm never going to. And I used to tell my brother that I'm afraid, because then my co-author Anas, he had a lot of confidence in me.
You,
He's going to deliver this book, and I had interviewed him. I had written, but I was thinking, nah, I can't. And I used to call my brother every morning and say, meet me. And mind you, by this time, I had seen pastors who had told me that my soul had left my body and was wandering around Accra. Another pastor told me that I was going to die on my bed. And I remember because my brother's house, he has walls that have like this electric fencing.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember always going to stand by the wall and thinking, what if I just touch this, I get electrocuted and I die?
Yeah.
That would be an easier way out. I'll be staring at it. But I think...
before you continue, were there times you were tempted to buy into, the spiritual logic that were being fed by...
No, there's a spiritual dimension. I would never deny that there's a spiritual dimension.
So there was a time you admitted or thought that probably what was happening to you was spiritual?
You see, there's one thing believing that there's a spiritual architecture to life.
Yeah.
And another thing, understanding what it really is about. I don't think that human beings have the capacity to understand spiritual architecture. You may have a bit of partial knowledge. Oh, this is why this is happening, this is why this is happening. But you never understand the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So I try not to wade into it because it's very murky waters.
Yeah.
But what I try to deal with is what's in front of me.
Yeah.
And how we can tackle it. Even though a lot of people told me it is spiritual, but I still took it a day at a time. How do we overcome this? Eventually, what helped me was finding a drug formula that worked. I was taken to a psychologist. It didn't work at all.
This was more like psychotherapy.
Yes. So the psychologist wanted to speak to me about life and how it didn't really work until I met a psychiatrist.
Okay.
I don't want to mention his name.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but
I agree.
Very good psychiatrist. He put me on this drug, which was really good. In fact, I took the drug maybe
antidepressant?
It's a mood elevator, whatever they call
it. Oh, okay. So, just lift up the chemicals in your brain.
Yes, so it's like, this is normal, this is low, this is depression, and this is mania.
Yeah.
So you are depressive now. So the drug takes you from depression to normal.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you could come very, very low.
Very low, like you are sinking.
Yeah.
That one there, it's you have no motivation to live, you can't work, you can't hold conversations, you can't, everything is impaired.
In the down mode, do you lose physical strength too?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you can feel the depression. I don't know, like you feel heavy with grief.
Yeah.
And it was really, really it's not something I wish on my worst.
Yeah,
it's terrible. It's really, and it's worse because it's mental.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a boil on your skin that you can shoot someone and say, "Me yari o she." It is like somebody will see you and say, "Oh, I saw yari bang."
Yeah.
But you are dying inside.
Yeah. So in such times, you can give a very positive appearance. You dress nicely. You are showing up. You are
to even dress up.
Okay. At the lowest level,
At the lowest level,
you lose yourself.
You can't. These. No, because I remember, and there are certain things that I remember when I was depressed. This is my worst experience. I was living with my brother.
Yeah.
My brother has a little son.
Yeah.
And he used to watch Coco Melon every morning.
Yeah.
And I remember, even up to now, when I hear Coco Melon music,
it takes you get some chills within.
It's like a traumatic experience.
Yeah, you don't want to hear.
I associate it with those times.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And I remember this song too. This Nigerian, is it a Nigerian song? I want to flex my love.
Yeah.
That song.
Yeah.
When I hear it, I get really angry.
Yeah, because it was also out during that time.
Yeah, it was out during that time.
Yeah.
And Charlie, when I hear that song, I get triggered.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you begin to associate. So that's why sometimes you need to leave your environment for a while.
No, it's how I feel anytime I go to Obuasi. I don't want to go to Obuasi.
Yeah,
because anytime I go to Obuasi, it just brings a whole lot of memories
and
to that.
So it's like that.
That time, yeah.
It's not an easy thing. So I think that it's something that people in Ghana need to start taking seriously.
Mental health,
depression, because it's not something you play with. Because my psychiatrist always tells me, if your mind is right, a lot of things are right.
Yeah.
We see the world through the lens of our minds.
Yeah.
We are conscious now. We see things, people around us, we process things. So if there's an imbalance, as in my case, a chemical
imbalance, yeah.
It's going to cost you a lot.
Yeah. So, were there times that you admitted that you needed to speak to someone, or it was detectable by people around you? So they look at you, no, there's something wrong, or out of your own work. Because in my case, I didn't get to the lowest, but I knew what was wrong with me. I and it was manifesting physically. So I was diagnosed of hypochondria. So you assume or you imagine that you have some medical condition which doesn't exist. So in my mind, I thought I was going to have stroke. I thought I was maybe going to have some kind of cancer. I was thinking about my blood pressure. And then my BP actually in real time started
shooting up.
Yeah, it started shooting up. And it manifested because now out of the symptoms I had gone to read online, I had to, if I had BP or I'm hypertensive, I needed to work out, have a healthy lifestyle, eat well, don't eat salt. So I had to request that they don't even put salt in my food.
Yeah.
I didn't want to eat so many things. Like food became very difficult for me because I was very, very picky and selective. So over time, people around me noticed that I had grown lean, and I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I had to be admitted at one point at the hospital because my BP was way up over 200. That's the systolic, right? The up.
Yeah.
It was way up. I was begging to be put on hypertensive medication. My doctor insisted, even when he insists that you don't need the medication, I wanted to be put on medicine because I felt that was what I needed to be able to feel good. So he felt that at any point, if he had even prescribed a chalk and presented chalk to me as BP medication, I was going to take it. So it brings me back. Mine manifested, and people closer to me got to know that something was wrong with me. Was yours seen visibly by external people, or you had to own up? Okay, so let me just take it again. I think mine wasn't easily noticed. Okay, even though I had lost weight and I was so skeptical about a whole lot of things. I had made changes about my diet and all, but I had to open up to talk to someone about how I was feeling. Also because of the stigma around, I wasn't so sure who I could trust. But I opened up to someone, and that marked the beginning of my healing or feeling better. So did you have to talk to someone, or people closer to you noticed and they came to help you?
I think mine was noticeable. You withdraw from everyone.
Yeah.
You don't want to do anything. You don't want to. So I asked for time away from work, and at that point my employers were really, really
concerned.
And my family, everyone was worried about me, worried for me. We did sessions with priests. I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
So sessions with priests.
The spiritual part is always important. Yeah.
And then charismatic also Bemu.
Yeah.
So it was very noticeable. It was I would fidget all the time. I'll just be there and I'll be shaking, rocking back and forth. Because so for instance, if I was depressed and I was sitting in front of you, you could see that I was uncomfortable. Because I don't want to be alive. So just being conscious is an issue for me.
For you, you always wanted to be in your closet, be alone. Yeah,
I want to be asleep or dead.
Yeah,
either one of the two.
Yeah.
So you just want everything to not be in session.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't want to be a part of life. That is the thing.
Yeah.
And nothing, not even the sweetest deal will get you to change your mind.
Yeah.
It's that bad. You are gone. You are gone. You don't want to. So I found it very miraculous that I was able to recover.
Yes.
And since then I've had short
mild,
spells, but not anything serious.
But I think it's also because now you are aware of it.
I'm aware of it.
You are conscious, and then you know what to do to get out.
Exactly. So one of my uncles recently came down. He says, we're talking about, he's a doctor. And I was telling him, uncle, I don't understand what's happening to me. Why me? That kind of thing. And he's like, Fiifi, and he's 80 now.
Yeah.
He says, I've been on blood pressure medication for 40 years.
I have been on it for 16 years.
For 16 years, you see, every morning I have to take it.
Yeah.
So I was telling him, I don't understand why I have to take drugs to function.
Yeah.
It's life. Everybody has their cross to carry. You understand? Just take it. You'll be fine. wake up in the morning, you take your pill, you're good to go.
Yeah.
You understand? But I didn't. I wanted a life
without the pills.
Yeah, without having to take anything to feel okay.
Yeah.
But I've come to understand that hey, it's just how life is.
Yeah.
It's like any other chronic challenge that you have in terms of illness.
Yeah.
You need to be able to find a way of managing it. So.
Yeah. So just walk us through some of the things you did to get out, some anything to share.
They asked me to go to the gym. I didn't go. I've had you.
We are definitely not having that conversation here.
Yeah. I've had like weight fluctuations all of my life.
Yeah.
Like I gain a lot of weight and I come and lose it, and I gain, I lose that.
Yeah.
But during the depressive phase, I lost a lot of weight.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And then even though I had lost weight, they said I should still become physically active.
Yeah.
So that it takes my mind off. But at that point, I don't even understand why physically active for what? For what? For death in the coffin? It doesn't make any sense to me. So at that point, I didn't really understand. So in this, I can't advise anybody to say, oh yes, now obey me a frame. Yeah, okay. Yeah. For if it's clinical,
it's clinical.
You need the right drug. So everybody and what works for them. It took a lot of experimentation. You take this drug, take this injection, take this, take that. Some injections were supposed to help you, rather short me way down. I remember there was this.
That's if it's chronic.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was this injection that I used to take every month. I think it cost like 3,000 cedis.
Yeah.
And it was worsening the issue. So I had to report to the doctors
for them to change it.
And finally we found a drug, very, very good drug. And since then everything has been really good.
So I just want your word out to anyone who probably is going through an episode of depression. What would you say to anyone about, with all your experiences and everything that you know about?
I would say, well, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Let's say it's life.
Yeah.
Life deals you a certain card, a certain scenario, a certain, chance situation, and you just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So when I was growing up, I never even knew that there was something like this ahead of me.
In life.
To come and deal.
Life happens. Circumstances and issues of life put you through.
And it's not one of those things that it's a consequence of something that you've done.
Yeah.
You can go and have sex and get gonorrhea.
Or HIV.
This one is not as if
it just happens.
It just happened.
Yeah.
So you just take it easy on yourself. You take the advice of your doctors.
Yeah.
You take your drugs.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
So for me, what has helped, knowing what I went through in 2013, anytime I'm about facing a storm or any storm of life hits me, I tell my mind before time that, hey, we are going to experience a bout of shit. But let's be mentally strong.
But you are very mentally strong.
Yeah, I had to build it. I really had to build it. So I consciously tell myself that
no apologies.
A storm is coming, but let's stay focused. And so I that's why I always encourage people to, when you hit a storm, I think your best form of therapy, yes, I believe in talking to people, opening up, but you don't have to lose your physical self. And that's why going to the gym and lifting weight or doing some strength training, it's everyone and what works for them.
It helps, yeah.
But I still think that anytime a storm or any kind of storm hits you, you don't have to lose your physical self. Anything you have to do to keep your physical strength going, you have to do. If it's swimming, just engage in some activity. I have identified mine. So when I hit a storm, I know I have to go to the gym to do strength training. And I think everyone must find their balance, because life, it continues. It's not so long as you are not dead, you can find yourself in. So what are you looking up to in the future? What's coming up? What are your projects? What are you doing now?
Yeah, I have this book with Anas, which hopefully comes out soon. Ghana, when we say soon.
Yeah, soon can be like
years.
It's in the pipeline.
It's in the pipeline. We started this book in 2020, so it's been a while. Hopefully when it comes out, people love it.
Yeah.
And I have another book idea for the next few years. I want to space the book. So one is in 2022, another 2025, maybe the next one in 2027, 2028, thereabout. This will be a collection of my articles. So looking forward to a lot. Hopefully the next few years are as exciting as I hope it to be.
Bemani! Fee, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Good to have you.
And thanks for being such a wonderful.
Anytime, my pleasure. Anytime. Yeah.